Got some people coming in real quick. All right, welcome. All right, I am Tracy White. I am the site director for the Trailblazers After School Academy. I want to welcome you to our Community Spotlight podcast. I want to make sure everyone can hear me. Can you hear me? Put your thumbs up. Okay, awesome. We have a few housekeeping rules, asking that everyone stay on mute unless you're the moderators or the speaker. We want to make sure that we minimize all background noise as much as possible. And you'll have an opportunity to be able to ask questions. You can put them in the chat box, or you can ask your questions at the end before we wrap up our podcast. And I want to now turn it over to our two podcast leaders. Ask you to unmute yourself, Dominique and Miles and Cindy.
Welcome to the Community Spotlight podcast, where we highlight area community leaders and organizations. I'm Miles Johnson, a new ninth grader at North High School.
I'm Dominique Cook, a new ninth grader at North High School. We are still members of the Trailblazers Academy.
Let's welcome Miss Goodin.
She works with the Youth Emergency Services, which stands for YES.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being in our Community Spotlight. Can you let our audience know about yourself?
Sure. Well, like I said, my name is Cindy Goodin. I work for Youth Emergency Services. I'm the Director of Program Services there. I just celebrated my 23rd anniversary working for Youth Emergency Services. So I've been around for a long time. I started straight out of college working in our emergency shelter, and I worked my way up. And back when I started, we just had the one program, and now we're up to about 10 programs. So it's grown a lot.
That's nice. That's nice.
What makes you want to give back to the community?
You know, I've always been a helper. I've always enjoyed helping others in any way I can. So it fulfills me to see young people be successful in small and big ways. So that's what keeps me going. That's why I've stuck around so long, is I do get to see those successes.
Cindy, I'm going to jump in for a second, Miles, before you ask your next question. Can you give us in detail what you do at Youth Emergency Services? I know you put down youth outreach and transitional living. What do you do in those roles?
So as the Director of Program Services, I oversee all of our programs. So that means I oversee the supervisors that run those programs, make sure that we're getting good data from them so that I can report those things to the Executive Director, the Board of Directors, and our Program Committee, so that if we see issues going on, we can adjust. So I do a lot of problem solving. So when things come up, the staff come to me to help figure out how the solutions. So I wear lots of hats. I write grants. Like I said, I do a lot of reports, and I do a lot of just talking to the staff members and sometimes the clients too.
So you work with youth mainly?
Well, I work at the administrative office.
Okay.
So I don't work with the youth directly very often, just occasionally when they aren't necessarily happy with what they've been told by someone else, they may come to me.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. All right. If you could go back to our age, what would you do differently?
Well, I really like what you're doing right now of asking people different questions about what they do, because I don't think that I knew what I wanted to do when I was your age. So I don't think I was focused. So asking questions of different people about their careers and what they like and dislike about it could be helpful in helping you figure out what you want to do in your future.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to someone our age about school?
About school, I would say pay attention to your teachers. They do know what they're talking about. Listen, be willing to realize that you don't know everything. I'm still learning, so there's lots of opportunities to learn from other people and from other viewpoints than yourself. So I just think there's a big world out there, and you only know this much of it right now. So be willing to be open and explore lots of different things.
Who inspires you and why?
You know, my boss, which is Mary Fraser Mites, she's the executive director of yes, and she's been with our agency for about 7 years now. She's a strong person. She is willing to be fair and listen to everything and expect a lot of us. So that, I mean, we're pushed, but we also know that she's going to be understanding and work with us when we have problems and help us figure out solutions to that. So I've really enjoyed working for her.
What are some organizations you are part of?
Well, I had to write those down because there's a lot. So Metro Area Continuum of Care for the Homeless, it's also known as MATCH. So I'm on a lot of committees in that for that agency. So that's just working with homelessness issues. So a lot of the young people that we serve either are homeless or near homeless. And so we find lots of different ways to support them, and that helps to be in those different task force that I'm on. I'm also on a runaway task force with Department of Health and Human Services and Probation. On a young adult leadership team, which works with a variety of agencies that do work with the same age groups that we do, so that we can kind of collaborate and fill in gaps. The young adult homeless review team, where we try to figure out solutions for individual young people that are homeless. The Metro Area Suicide Prevention Coalition, the Youth System Implementation Team, and the Women's Fund Community of Practice, which is for trafficking, human trafficking, if you know about that.
A lot. How has COVID-19 affected how you serve the community now?
It's been tough. Our street outreach center, where we, before COVID, saw 50 to 60 clients every day, we had to close it down to keep everybody safe. We still open it for 3 hours a day, but we're only seeing maybe 10 to 15 clients a day right now because we don't let them come in and have their meals and hang out and use the computer. They can come in and get their supplies, and then they have to go. We're also doing mobile pantry, so they don't even have to leave their where they're staying. So we'll go and deliver groceries and supplies to them as well. So our numbers are not as much as we were seeing. We've also had to tighten the rules at our residential places. So we have an emergency shelter and a maternity group home where we have a group of people living together. And so that kind of is scary because young people have jobs and they're leaving the facility and they could be catching COVID and coming back. So we're checking temperatures. We're monitoring that. We were on kind of a lockdown situation where they could only leave if they were going to work or an appointment. We've just loosened that in the last week so that they can go out and visit friends. But we are still going to be asking those questions and checking temperatures. They have to be back by curfew. They're not allowed to have people inside of our house, and they're not allowed to have overnight passes anywhere, which is frustrating for them. And I totally get, but we're all frustrated with COVID. A lot of us have been cooped up. I've been working out of my house since it started, so it's tough for us all.
It's been tough.
What was your greatest community accomplishment this year?
It was about a year ago that I submitted some grant requests, and it doesn't sound very exciting, but I brought in about $500,000 a year to help continue programs that we're doing. So they were for our transitional living program and our maternity group home. And so that's really important because we didn't have a grant the year before, and we had to do a lot of fundraising. And with COVID, we've had to cancel our events. So that would have been, we probably would have had to close some programs had I not gotten those grants. So I'm pretty proud of that.
That's good.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
What brings you joy?
Dogs. Dogs are my passion. I actually run a dog rescue as well. So that's my unpaid job. So I foster dogs, and I work with a bunch of other people that volunteer for my rescue, and we help dogs come from bad situations, and we keep them in our homes and help them recover and then find them wonderful places to go. So that's what I love doing.
Yeah, I love dogs too.
One of mine is snoring. You would probably hear him. It's not me, I promise.
How can we inspire others to be a bright light in the community?
I think kind of what I said before is being open to listen to other people's point of views, and making good choices and being a role model for others. Sometimes it's difficult, but it's always something that you can be proud of and that others can be proud of you for as well. So I think being open to listen and then making good decisions is the best thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. That's all of our questions that we have. If there's any other questions from the audience, you may ask Miss Goodin your questions.
Are there any questions from our audience? You can put them in the chat box, or you can come on live.
Yay.
Can I ask a question?
I have one question.
Okay, let me get you one at a time. We have Chelsea, or do we have Equasia? I just want to make sure.
Miss Powers.
Okay.
It was Equation. It was me.
Okay,
So I guess my question would be to Ms. Gooding about the grant writing process. Was that a harder process to do the grant writing? Did you have to do it virtually? Was it in person? How was that process with the COVID going on?
Grant writing is something that I can do from home. It's just on the computer and then you submit it. The government grants that I write, they're like 70 pages long. So they are not fun to do. It's a lot of repeating yourself sometimes, and but you have to answer each question just right. The competition is national and it's pretty stiff. And so if you miss a point or two on a question, that could mean no funding. That's what happened the year before to us. We missed, I think, 4 points on the whole grant and we didn't get funding. So it's really important that you're really good with details and making sure that you answer every question completely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, Ms. Smith-Gooch. Thank you. Do we have another question?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Is that you, Ms.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Are there opportunities that the Lewis and Clark Student Council could do to help you out, or advertise, anything like that we could do at Lewis and Clark to help with the community?
Sure. Right now, we're not having volunteers come in, but we could always use, a food drive, canned goods, and cereal is a big one that we are always looking for. Even like sock drives and underwear drives and things like that, because sometimes older people have very good intentions, but they bring us tighty-whities and our young people will not wear them. So we'd appreciate things that young people would be willing to wear.
Okay, well, when we get student council up and rolling, we'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and maybe even down the road, like, a clothing drive as far as cleaning out your own closets of things that you don't wear anymore. And you can bring them. We're not accepting things right now because of COVID, but down the road we will again.
Okay.
We have a clothing pantry for young people to go in and go shopping.
Thank you,
Great,
Mrs. Powers. Thank you for your question.
Welcome.
Are there any other questions?
Ms. Wigg has a question.
Okay, Ms. Wick, go ahead.
I know that there are groups that provide meals, sometimes monthly. First Unitarian Church, I just know that we do meals.
Absolutely.
In a school, it's harder. In a middle school, it's harder to do that kind of on a monthly basis or something. But would there be a way for us or student council to take a quarter, or like once a quarter we did something, or a way to put together bags like you said that you're delivering?
Yeah. As far as our meals, and that's what we serve at our street outreach center. And right now, because of COVID, we're limiting it to like purchase meals, like catered or something. But down the road, we'll accept like homemade meals as well. You can sign up for one day. It's really easy on our website to sign up. There's a calendar and it shows what days we have things already lined up and what days are empty. And it even shows what the other people are going to bring. So if we have, pizza on there twice that week, maybe you could do something else. So, but yeah, it's super easy to go on our website. It's yesomaha.org, and you can sign up for just one meal, or you can sign up for several.
Can Miss Wig ask another question? Because she's
Ms. Wig, you sure can.
I also know that you have some cards and things for kids, and is there a way that maybe Miss White or Miss Powers, let's see how I delegate that to other people and don't take it on me, but that we could have some of those at school for kids? Because I know that you have those available.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we like to pass out our Safe Place cards. So Safe Place is one of the programs that we have that's in a 24-hour emergency crisis intervention. So young people can call us anytime of day or night, and we have staff answering that hotline and able to go out if needed and help that young person. So sometimes I went on a call not too long ago, about 2 o'clock in the morning, where a couple of people had run away from home because they were being abused. And so they were out and they didn't have anywhere to go. And so we went and picked them up and took them to our shelter and then called the authorities and got them the help that they needed. But so, yeah, we're there if you're too afraid to call the police or whatever, we're there to help and kind of help you through that. So I'd be happy to get some cards to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Wig. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, hi. This is Chelsea. I'm in Lincoln, and I wanted to ask, recently there's been a transitional housing that is looking to expand, and they've gotten some bad, I guess, pushback from the community about expanding their services. And I'm kind of curious if you've faced that and what maybe advice you might have for the community that is looking to support and expand these kinds of services in our communities.
Sure. Our transitional living right now is in multiple places in our community, so it's not all congregated in one spot. We haven't had many issues with neighbors. I mean, our neighbors are great about letting us know if something's going on that shouldn't be, like if they're sneaking kids in through the window or something like that, the neighbors let us know. But we haven't had negative neighbor interactions. It's pretty good. We're lucky.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Chelsea. These are being some very good questions.
Yes.
And we have over 20 people online with us today. This is awesome. Appreciate it so very much. I'm making sure, are there any questions inside of the chat box? Thank you, Mrs. Powers, for that. All right. Do any of our students that are online have any questions? They're just quiet. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Cindy, for being with us today. We greatly appreciate it. I'm not going to be the person to close us out. I believe Dominique closes us out. Is that correct?
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us for the Community Spotlight. I'm Dominique.
I'm Miles.
Remember, you too can make a difference in your community. See you soon with our next podcast.
See ya.